We can use mobile tasks to simulate towing operations, for example, towing an item to site and installing it at sea. We've got a brief example here which looks at this scenario. We've established a map with an offshore location, a port location and a met-ocean point. And we've set up a vessel with some significant wave height limits for transit speed, up to a limit of 3 meters of wave height. We have a simple linear operation here in which we're going to mobilize our vessel in port, we're going to tow a device to the site, install the device and demobilize in port. Mermaid automatically inserts transits for us and we don't need to specify these. However, we wish to more severely restrict the towing operation than a transit, and in this case we can use a mobile task to do so. We've set up some durations and some met-ocean limits, and we've made sure that our tow to site operation is restricted on its speed to 1.5 meters per second, significantly slower than the vessel would move in an ordinary transit. We've assigned the vessel and we've specified that the task is mobile. We now need to consider the locations in which we work. So we'll set the mobilize in port operation to take place in Falmouth, the port that we're using. We've already set our tow to site to be mobile, and we can see this summarized on the task card. We will then set the installation of the device at the site location, and finally we will set the demobilization as taking place back in the port. We now have an operation which we can run and we can consider the results of. However, before we do so, we'll take a moment to consider the Gantt chart and look at how Mermaid has scheduled the vessel movements. In the Gantt chart, we can see the 4 tasks specified. We can see that we mobilize in the port. We can see that we then have a tow to site operation which takes place from Falmouth to the site location. We can see our installation work at the site. We can then see the automatically determined transit from site back to port, which precedes the demobilization. And it's important to note that Mermaid has recognised that there is no need to insert a transit between the mobilizing in port and the installation of the device, because the towing operation that we've specified as a mobile task ensures that the vessel is in the correct location. It's also important to note that when performing a mobile task, Mermaid does not consider the access and depart limitations which are applied to a vessel. So the tow to site operation will take place without departure from port being considered and without access to site being considered as separate entities. It will conform only to the station keeping limits and to the mobile task limits. The transit home, however, will require the access and depart limits to be conformed to.